More on Marcus Ambrose with Dave.
Well, pushing hard and made a mistake right there, Doc. I was going to ask DJ. DJ, don't you think Marcus would want to lay back and watch what the 29 and 92 might do to each other?
Yeah, you know, you'd like to think that maybe, but you actually want to get up in there and be a part of it. You know?
I thought, and one more thing, I thought maybe they were coming back toward the 59. He didn't have the fastest car earlier, but with those flat-spotted tires, they may have equalized the competition a little bit here.
16 laps to go. We have got a barn burner up front at Watkins Glen. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Watkins Glen, Jeff Burton fired up and mad at Kyle Busch. There they are in the inner loop. Can he catch him? Can he get the touch? And folks, Jeff Burton, who got tapped by Kyle Busch about a lap and a half ago. There's the tap. There's the retaliation. Busch gets up a little bit. Jeff Burton sails right on by. And Kyle Busch trying to pedal back to the inside of Jimmy Johnson. Got to be careful not to take Jimmy Johnson out.
And here they go, down in the left-hander. Is he going to get Jimmy? Oh, just about gets Jimmy.
Again, look at this contact up in turn 9.
I feel quite certain Kyle Busch was expecting that. Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any doubt. He was just trying his best not to let Jeff Burton get that close to him to be able to let that happen.
And as you mentioned, there's not a more mild-mannered individual in the garage area than Jeff Burton, but you don't rile him. Let's check in on the Kyle Busch situation. Jamie.
Well, the extreme opposite personality is Kyle Busch. Well, you guys showed when they did the little pirouette. Kyle's car, as the team says, is hurting. They think the toe was knocked out. They're not sure how the tires are looking. And oh, by the way, he's at this point about 2 to 3 laps short on fuel. They are begging and praying for a caution right now. But Kyle Busch hanging on as he slips back another spot, guys.
Hey, you got what you got now. So even if the caution comes out and Kyle Busch comes down pit road, he'll be out of contention.
The question is, can Jeff Burton make it? Remember, Pat Smith, the crew chief, said we're going to be really, really close.
Maybe about another lap of fuel. Not going to happen. Try, man. Got to have faith. Got to have faith.
That was Chad Canals talking to Jimmy Johnson, telling him to save fuel. And Jimmy says, no way. I'm going for this win. I'm not saving anything.
Because Jimmy Johnson doesn't have to worry about points. He only runs a couple of times a year. That's and there is Chad Canals, left side of your screen, the crew chief that helped lead Jimmy Johnson, the back-to-back NASCAR Sprint Cup titles.
How the heck with it? He's just going to run as hard as he can, get the lead if he can get it, and hope he's got enough fuel.
These front two guys pitted within a couple laps of each other. Burton came in on lap 43. Jimmy Johnson lap 45. Now, the guy who may be okay is the third place car, Marcus Ambrose. This car right here that pitted on lap 50. He may be in the best position, or is in the best position in terms of fuel.
He's got the least amount of laps, and it's pretty iffy that these guys up front are going to make it, especially if we don't have any more cautions. This has been probably the most caution-free part of the race we've had so far, even though we've had guys, slamming into each other like we see here. Marcus Ambrose just trying to be aggressive. If he can keep this car rolling, he'll have a shot.
I don't know how much he has to try to be aggressive. He's pretty aggressive. Brad Daugherty saw he's going to put a door skin on that car now, costing him more money down there.
Yeah, he almost climbed in the door of the 0-1 of Wheeler Boys. Marcus Ambrose, the Tasmanian driver. Champion down in Australia. Road racing in stock cars. Had a chance to go be a Formula One test driver. Outran Jenson Button and Kimi Räikkönen over in the Formula One European ranks, and everyone said this kid's got a great future. Decided to come NASCAR racing, and almost won a year ago at Montreal. We're talking about Marcus Ambrose. Brad Keselowski having a great run in the 88 car, and he's lost a couple of spots. He was up in front of Kevin Harvick and Dario Franchitti in 6th. Now he gets back to 8th position.
Yeah, those guys got a little aggressive with him, and I think that probably he thought, it's not worth right now trying to bang this out, and he's kind of backed off, and he knows this can be a big point day. I'm sure that his people have told him that. It's been an eventful day for him already, but he has a good chance to make a lot of ground here in this championship battle.
He is currently now, as of right now, second in the point standings, just 127 points back of the 2 car, Clint Boyer, and Clint's way back in 26th position.
Jeff Burton is not giving up anything to Jimmy Johnson. He beat him 2/10 the last lap.
Maybe Jimmy decided to back off and save a little bit of that. Maybe he decided that, okay, right now I'm going to save a little bit here. Still has 10 laps to go as they come by this time. So you can back off a little bit, save a little bit of fuel and your tires, and then that'll give you a chance to make a run at the end.
A couple of Cup Series veterans. Kevin Harvick looking at the rear bumper of Matt Kenseth.
These guys are racing awful hard. We see right here is Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Dario Franchitti. We thought Harvick was one of those guys that had a chance to win today, and it hasn't really materialized into that type of a race for him. He's had a really good race, but not one to where he's been out front. We see Jeff Burton and Jimmy Johnson.
But we're going to back you off here until 5 to go. 5 to go, then you can go after him again. Going to be gone. We're going to be out of gas. Gone then. Either go out in a blaze of glory or try to points race.
It looks like maybe Chad won the argument. You know, these guys are still, the way to win the race is you got to have enough fuel to make the car finish. And Chad knows that, and he says, just back off, save some fuel, and then he's hoping that 29 car will run out. They'll be out front, then they can cruise to the win.
Yeah, and Jimmy's thinking that if I back off, then I have no chance I've got it catching the 29. Mike?
Well, guys, you know, that's exactly what they were saying here in the 48 camp. Save your stuff, save your fuel. It was interesting. After they made their last stop, there was some, I guess, some surprise amongst the team members that they actually stopped. I looked at them and talked to them afterwards, and they said, if we were points racing, we wouldn't have stopped right there. They know they're close.
I'll tell you what, the lap times look pretty fast, too. They're running some of the faster lap times of the race right now. They're not saving any fuel.
Yeah, the key is not only, I guess, how much fuel you have, but how much fuel you pick up on a road course. You got to be able to get every single drop out of that fuel cell. There's a 92, Kyle Busch back in 4th position. A little pushing and shoving just a few laps ago between Kyle and Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton was the leader. Kyle got a little contact with him coming into turn 11, and Jeff ran him back down and then a little contact back in the inner loop.
We're going to see a guy coming here in just a second that was talking earlier about how he wasn't doing so good here. A young man in that 20 car. Here we see David Reagan coming. He's in 9th, and there's Joey Logano in 10th spot. And he was talking about how he just wasn't getting the job done here, but he's got his car up in 10th place right now. Pretty good run, I'd say, for his first time here.
He's kept his nose clean. The car looks pretty clean. It looks cleaner than some of his leaders.
Speaking of the leader, let's check in with Dave.
I'm listening right now. They just began talking about fuel. Save me some fuel. How many laps do you need? Pat Smith, maybe 1. So Jeff, now the decision to back it down a little bit. He hadn't talked to him at all about fuel. Obviously, Jeff was thinking about something else on the track after the spin. So the driver never said anything. The crew chief didn't talk about fuel until just then. And it's going to be pretty close, guys.
Yeah, Dave, he finally got a little bit of a lead, a little cushion where they can think about saving fuel. When you've got somebody breathing down your neck, you can't even think about saving fuel.
Yeah, the only fuel he was thinking about earlier was the fuel that's in that fuel cell of Kyle Busch's car as he's trying to get to the back of that.
Now, how do you save fuel on a road course? I know on ovals you can try to roll in and be ginger rolling in and out, but what about a road course?
You need a caution to do it most of the time. It's just really hard out here. If you're going to run it all, it just makes it difficult. We see that, yeah, he's going to be pretty tight, if not close to empty before this is over.
So we see this is a fuel window we calculated of if they ran under green, that they could go 30, 35 laps. Yeah. Jeff Burton's about out of fuel.
And he's had to run hard.
You saw he really backed out early going into turn 1, and the 48 car just reeled him in. But
you ask about, I mean, there's really not a lot that you can do. I mean, you might back the corner up just a little bit, but to say that you're going to save fuel, it's a lot more difficult to do it on a road course than on an oval.
I know a lot of these guys are getting nervous because we haven't had the cautions that they planned on, and it's going to be real tight for some of these guys to make it on fuel.
5-car, Earnhardt Jr. headed to pit road, Dave.
And he was having a top 10 run until about 3 laps ago when he reported something is broken in the rear end of this car. It may be the track bar, something, but I can't drive it anymore. That was the statement coming down to the final turns here, and Cam Strader said, bring it on pit road. We'll look underneath. Now they're looking underneath the hood. Junior's even saying maybe the sway bar or sway bar arm is broken off this car.
That's a car that won at Montreal last week with Ron Fellows aboard.